Welcome to Real Talk, where we solve real English problems for non-native speakers living in English-speaking countries. I'm Maggie, and if you've ever felt confused about why your perfectly correct English somehow offended people, you're in the right place. Today's episode comes from a story that hundreds of you have lived through. It's about commands, requests, and why saying exactly what you mean can destroy your workplace relationships. Let's get into it. Our story today is based on patterns reported by thousands of non-native speakers working in UK and US offices. Here's how it goes.
I've been working at a tech company in London for 6 months now. I got hired because my English is excellent. I did my master's degree in English, I scored high on all my tests, and I can talk about complex technical topics with no problem. But 3 weeks ago, everything changed. My manager called me into a meeting. She said, "We need to talk about your communication style." I was confused. My emails are clear. My presentations are professional. I speak fluently. What's the problem? She said, "Your team feels like you're being rude and bossy. They say you're giving orders instead of asking for help." I was shocked. I'm not bossy. I'm just being clear and direct. When I need something from a colleague, I tell them, "Give me the file by end of day," or "Send me the report." That's normal, right? That's what my managers in my home country would say to me. But apparently, here in the UK, people are offended. One teammate even stopped responding to my messages. Another went to HR. I don't understand. I'm saying the exact same things my British colleagues need. Why is my English the problem?
If you're listening to this and your stomach just dropped because this has happened to you, you're not alone. This might be the most common workplace mistake non-native speakers make. And here's the tough part. You didn't do anything grammatically wrong, but you broke one of English's most important unwritten rules. Let's break it down. Our speaker was using imperatives. Imperatives are commands. They're grammatically correct, they're direct, they're efficient, and in English workplace culture, they're social disasters. Here's what she was saying. Give me the file. Send me the report. Check this document. Come to my desk. Now, pause for a second. If you learned English in school, your teacher probably taught you that these are perfectly correct sentences. And they are. Grammatically, there's nothing wrong. But English-speaking workplaces, especially in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia, don't run on grammar. They run on politeness culture. And in English politeness culture, commands are reserved for emergencies or when you have extreme authority. Think about it. Who uses commands in English? Parents talking to small children? Clean your room. Military officers? Move out. Emergency situations? Call 911. Are you seeing the pattern? Commands are used when there's a power imbalance or when there's no time for politeness. So when you walk into a normal office and start using imperatives with your colleagues, people who are your equals, they don't hear efficiency. They hear, "I am your boss, you will obey me," even if that's not what you meant. Now, I know what you're thinking, but in my language, this is totally normal. In German, in Russian, in Korean, in French, we use direct statements all the time and nobody is offended. You're absolutely right. Many languages are high-context, direct communication cultures. You say what you mean. Clarity is respect. Beating around the bush is considered dishonest or weak. But English, especially British and American English, is different. English is an indirect communication culture when it comes to workplace requests. We hide commands inside questions. We mask authority with politeness. We say, "Could you?" when we actually mean, "Do this." It's a cultural script, and if you don't follow it, native speakers will think you're rude, aggressive, or power-hungry. Here's the unwritten rule that nobody teaches in English class. In English workplaces, requests must be phrased as questions, not commands. Even when you're the boss. Even when it's urgent. Even when the other person's job is literally to do what you're asking. Let me give you examples. Listen to the difference. Command. Give me the report. Request. Could you send me the report? Hear that? Same meaning, completely different social impact. Command. Check this document. Request. Would you mind taking a look at this document? Command. Come to my desk. Request. Do you have a minute to come to my desk? See the pattern? Native English speakers use modal verbs, could, would, can, to soften commands into questions. And here's the really weird part. Everyone knows it's not actually a question. Your colleague knows you're not really asking if they can send you the file. You're telling them to send it. But the fake question is the politeness shield that makes it socially acceptable. Not all requests are equal. English has a politeness hierarchy. Let me show you, from least polite to most polite. Level 1, the command. Never use at work. Send me the file. Level 2, the casual request. Use with close colleagues equals. Can you send me the file? Level 3, the standard request. Use most of the time. Could you send me the file? Would you send me the file? Level 4, the formal request. Use with senior people, difficult requests. Would you mind sending me the file? I was wondering if you could send me the file. Level 5, the extremely polite request. Use when asking for big favors. If it's not too much trouble, would you be able to send me the file? I hate to bother you, but could you possibly send me the file? As a general rule, if you're not sure, use level 3 or level 4. You can't really go wrong with could you or would you mind? Now, here's where it gets even weirder. Let's say you are the manager. You're literally in charge. Your job is to delegate tasks. You still can't use commands. I know, it's bizarre. In many cultures, if you're the boss, you give orders. That's what authority means. But in English-speaking workplaces, good managers mask their authority with politeness. They say things like, "Could you have this ready by Friday? I need this done by end of day. Does that work for you? Would you be able to take the lead on this project?" Are they actually asking? No. If you say no, there will be consequences. But the social script requires them to phrase it as a question. Why? Because English workplace culture values collaboration over hierarchy. Even when hierarchy exists, we pretend it doesn't. If you use commands as a manager, your team will think you're a dictator. They'll complain to HR. They'll quit. Even though you're technically within your rights to give orders. Okay, so how do you fix this? How do you stop accidentally offending people? Step 1, replace every command with, could you? Seriously, this is your default. Anytime you're about to say an imperative, stop yourself and add could you at the beginning. Before, send me the file. After, could you send me the file? Before, check the document. After, could you check the document? Before, come to the meeting. After, could you come to the meeting? This one change will fix 80% of your problems. Step 2, add softening phrases when you need extra politeness. When you're asking someone to do something difficult, extra work, or something that's not their job, add a softener. Would you mind checking this document? I was wondering if you could help me with something. If you get a chance, could you look at this? These phrases say, I know this is a favor. I'm not demanding, I'm asking. Step 3. Give people an out when appropriate. If the task is truly optional, give them a way to say no. Could you help me with this? No worries if you're too busy. Would you have time to review this? If not, totally understand. Native speakers do this constantly. It signals, I respect your time and workload. Let's do a drill. I'm going to say a command. Pause the video and say it back to me as a polite request. Ready? Command. Give me your feedback. Your turn. Could you give me your feedback? Command. Finish this by tomorrow. Your turn. Could you finish this by tomorrow? Command. Could you call the client? Or, would you mind calling the client? Command. Review my presentation. Your turn. Would you mind reviewing my presentation? Good, you're getting it. Step 5. Listen to native speakers. For the next week, pay attention to how native English speakers ask for things at work. You'll notice, they almost never use imperatives. They use could you constantly. They add please, but it's not required. They say thanks before the task is done. Could you send that? Thanks. That last one is interesting. They say thanks before you do the thing. That's because the thanks isn't really thanking you. It's assuming you'll say yes. It's a social script that makes saying no harder. All right, let's recap. Here's your real talk takeaway. In English workplaces, commands are social disasters. Requests must be phrased as questions, even when you're the boss, even when it's urgent, even when you're grammatically correct. Replace give me the file with could you send me the file? Replace check this document with would you mind checking this? Replace come to my desk with could you come to my desk? One small change, massive social impact. If this happened to you, if you've been called rude or bossy for being direct, it wasn't your fault. Nobody taught you this rule. But now you know. Practice it this week. Notice how differently people respond to you. Next week on Real Talk, we're tackling another question that confuses everyone. How are you? And why you should never actually answer it. If you have a Real Talk question, an embarrassing moment, a cultural misunderstanding, a time when your English was correct but people still got upset, let me know below. Your story might be our next episode. I'm Maggie, and thanks for listening to The Real Talk.